Have you ever noticed how the silence in the house changes as you get older? It's not the peaceful kind, the one you used to look forward to after a long day of work or raising kids. No, this one's different. It creeps in around the edges, fills the corners of the rooms, and one day you realize it's been sitting next to you on the couch like an old friend you never invited in. That's when it hits you. Living alone after 70 is a whole different story. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a kind of freedom in it, sure. You eat when you want, nap when you feel like it, and don't have to argue over the TV remote. But there are also things, little things and big things, that you start realizing you just can't do without anymore. Not if you want to live well, live fully, and not just exist. That's what this video is all about. We're going to have an honest, heart-to-heart conversation about the real things you absolutely need around you after 70 if you're living alone. Not just for safety, but for your peace of mind, your health, and your spirit. And don't worry, this isn't one of those you must have a smartwatch and a smart fridge kind of talks. This is about real life, soul-deep, kitchen table wisdom, the kind that actually makes a difference. So let's settle in. Maybe you've got a warm cup of tea or the TV humming low in the background. Either way, I'm glad you're here. Let's begin with the first thing you simply can't live alone without after 70. It's not a gadget and it's not even a person. It's routine. Now I know what you're thinking. Routine sounds boring. But I'll tell you this. Once you hit your 70s, routine is not a chain that ties you down. It's the lifeboat that keeps you floating. When you live alone, there's no one knocking on your door reminding you to get out of bed, to take your pills, to eat at a certain hour. And at first, that feels like freedom. But after a while, days blur together. You start skipping breakfast. Maybe you forget your morning pills. Maybe one day you wake up at noon, and another you're still in your robe at dinner time. It sneaks up on you. I remember a friend of mine, George, sharp guy, always wore a hat even indoors. After his wife passed, he said he loved the quiet at first. But 6 months in, he told me, I stopped knowing what day it was. And when I stopped caring what day it was, that's when the fog rolled in. Routine is your anchor, waking up at the same time, making your bed even if nobody sees it, sitting down to eat, not just snacking at the counter. That structure doesn't just help your body, it gives your mind a rhythm. It keeps the fog out. And trust me, you don't need anything fancy. You don't have to have a wall calendar filled with gold star stickers. Just a simple habit. Wake up, wash your face, open the curtains. Small things done the same way each day remind you that you are still in charge of your life. But routine alone isn't enough. There's something else, something quieter, but just as essential. It's connection. Now, I don't mean having visitors every day or being glued to the phone. I'm talking about having at least one person, just one, you can call or who can check in on you. Someone who knows you well enough to notice if something's off. You might be fiercely independent. You might say, I don't want to bother anyone, or I'm fine on my own. And I believe you. But being fine today doesn't mean you won't need someone tomorrow. Here's the thing. When you live alone, no one else notices the little things. If you skip a meal, no one sees. If your foot hurts and you're limping a little, no one comments. If you didn't sleep last night and you're feeling down, no one asks why. That's the danger of silence. It hides things. And those things, left hidden too long, can become real trouble. So find your person. It might be your neighbor, a cousin, a friend from church, or even a friendly young fellow from the grocery store who's always willing to help carry your bags. Doesn't matter who, as long as they're reliable. Make a little agreement, a weekly check-in, a quick, you all right call. Maybe you send a thumbs up emoji every morning, whatever works for you. There's a quiet comfort in knowing that someone will notice if you disappear for a day. And that comfort, it helps you sleep better. It helps you move through the day, knowing you're not completely on your own, no matter how alone the house feels. Now, I want to tell you about something else. It's going to sound almost silly at first, but bear with me. You can't live without a chair with a view. I mean it. A window. A place where you sit every day and see something moving. Trees, birds, people walking by, kids on bikes, even clouds changing shape in the sky. When you live alone, Especially after 70, your world can start to shrink. The walls feel closer, the house gets quieter. You might spend hours not saying a single word out loud, but when you've got a chair with a view, life keeps moving in front of you. It reminds you that the world hasn't stopped, even if your world feels slower. It gives you a rhythm, just like that routine we talked about. You sit in the chair, maybe with your tea, and you watch the day happen. That view, it's not just scenery, it's company. It gives your mind something to chew on. You notice the neighbor got a new dog. The leaves started changing. The street lamp flickers in the evening now. These details, they sound small, but they're like breadcrumbs. They keep your mind sharp. They help you feel present. Some people think you need to be busy all the time to stay young. But I say this, sometimes just observing life is enough to keep your heart beating strong. So if you don't have that chair yet, find one. Clear a space, dust off the old recliner, face it toward the window. That small act can make a big difference in how the day feels. Let me pause for a moment here. We've talked about routine, connection, and that chair with a view. These aren't big, complicated things. They don't cost much. They don't require new technology. But when you live alone, they become as vital as air. Because after 70, it's not just about adding years to your life. It's about adding life to your years. Let's keep going. Because once you have those three things in place, something surprising starts to happen. You start to notice that the days don't just pass by anymore. You live them. And that's the whole point, isn't it? At this age, it's not about rushing or proving anything to anyone. It's about waking up with something to look forward to, something to hold on to. And that brings me to something else that often gets overlooked. But it's one of the most powerful things you need when living alone after 70. You can't live without a purpose. Now, I don't mean some grand mission or a lifelong dream you never chased. I mean something simple, something real. A reason to get out of bed that has meaning to you. It might be watering your garden, feeding the cat, calling your granddaughter every Sunday, making soup for your neighbor, sitting down to write a few lines in a notebook. Doesn't have to be big, it just has to matter. When you're younger, your purpose is usually handed to you. You raise your children, you go to work, you take care of others. But later in life, especially when you're alone, you have to choose your purpose each day. And that's both the challenge and the gift. I knew a man named Alex, lived 2 streets over from me. Retired plumber, rough hands, soft heart. After his wife passed, he started fixing broken porch steps in the neighborhood. Never charged a dime. Said it gave him a reason to stretch his back in the morning. People started leaving little notes on his doorstep asking for help. That was his purpose. Kept him strong, kept him smiling. So think about it. What do you care about? What lights you up, even a little? It could be baking, fixing things, writing letters, collecting old coins, telling stories to your great-grandkids. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that you do it. Because having purpose is like fuel in the tank. Without it, the engine may still run, but it's going nowhere. And when you've got that purpose, it naturally leads to something else you can't live without, especially after 70. You can't live without movement. I'm not saying you need to do yoga on the porch or go jog around the block, though hey, if you can, more power to you. What I'm talking about is simply this. Keep your body moving every single day. When you live alone, it's easy to slow down without noticing. No one's pulling you out for errands or asking you to help carry groceries. You might go half a day before realizing you've barely stood up. And the thing is, when you stop moving, your joints start stiffening, your balance starts slipping, and your confidence starts fading. It doesn't have to be complicated. Put on some music and sway a little while you make tea. Walk from room to room with intention. Take a few steps outside and look at the trees. Do a few slow stretches while sitting in your favorite chair. And if you have stairs, use them, even if it's just once a day. A lady I knew, Mrs. Clara, used to say, if you don't tell your legs what to do, they'll forget. And you know what? She was right. She was 88, and every morning, she'd shuffle slowly around her tiny backyard, just touching the flowers and saying hello to the sun. That was her way of telling her legs, I still need you. And it's not just your body that benefits from moving, it's your mood. You get a little spark of energy, a sense of I can. And when you live alone, that feeling, I can, might be the most valuable thing you own. Now let me tell you about something that might sound funny coming from a man like me. You can't live without comfort. Real, honest, physical comfort. I'm talking soft slippers that don't slide, a lamp that lights the room just right, a bed that hugs your back in all the right places, a blanket that smells like home. The little things. Because once you're on your own, the comfort of another person is no longer part of your daily life. No one's rubbing your shoulders while you watch the news. No one's bringing you tea or covering you with a blanket when you doze off. So you have to bring that comfort into your life deliberately. Your home should feel like a warm embrace, a place that makes you feel cared for, even if you're the only one there. Change out that itchy old blanket for a soft one. Get a nightlight that makes midnight trips to the bathroom less scary. Add cushions to that chair that's a little too hard on your back. These aren't luxuries. They're necessities when you live alone. And here's the thing. You deserve to feel good in your own space. You've earned it. One more thing I want to share with you. It might just be the most important. You can't live without laughter. Yes, laughter. When you're living alone after 70, it's easy to go a whole day without laughing. And the trouble is, when we stop laughing, we start feeling heavy. Everything feels a bit too serious. The aches feel worse. The weather feels gloomier. The silence feels louder. So bring some laughter into your life on purpose. Watch a comedy you used to love. Call that one friend who always makes you giggle. Put a silly magnet on your fridge. Talk to your plants like they're people. Find a way to chuckle at the absurdity of life because, let's be honest, this life is pretty strange sometimes. Laughter reminds you that you're alive. It doesn't mean everything is perfect. It just means you still have a spark in you. And when you laugh, even when you're alone, your home fills up with a kind of music that no radio can replace. You see, all of these things, purpose, movement, comfort, laughter, they may seem small, but they hold your life together from the inside out. They aren't fancy. You won't find them in a shopping cart or a catalog. But when you live alone, they become your quiet army, standing between you and the creeping feeling of loneliness. And the truth is, living alone after 70 doesn't have to mean being lonely. Not when your days have rhythm, not when someone knows your name and checks on you, not when your eyes catch the movement of trees outside your window, not when your knees still carry you across the room, not when you find purpose in small things, not when you can laugh, even if it's just at the cat doing something ridiculous. You're not done yet. You're still here, and there's still a lot of beauty left for you to notice and feel and live. Let's take a breath together, right here, right now. Because even sitting still in this moment, talking about the simple things that matter, you're making space for more life. And isn't that a beautiful thing? If you've made it this far, I want to say something to you directly. You are not forgotten. You matter. Not just to me as I sit here speaking into a camera, but to the world, to your street, your community, your little corner of life. You bring something to it simply by being here. And if you're living alone after 70, let me remind you, you don't need a house full of people to have a life full of meaning. But there's one last thing we haven't talked about yet. And honestly, it might be the most overlooked, yet most powerful part of all. You can't live without something to look forward to. Sounds simple, right? But think about it for a second. What is the next thing on your calendar that you're excited about? Not an appointment, not a prescription refill, not your next grocery run. I mean something that puts a light in your eyes just thinking about it. That's what looking forward does. It gives your mind something to reach toward, like sunlight to a flower. And without it, days start to blend. You begin to feel like you're just getting through instead of growing forward. Now your something doesn't have to be big. It might be a phone call with your son on Friday, or pancakes on Sunday morning, a new book waiting by your bed, a plant you're trying to grow, a show you're watching one episode at a time, slowly on purpose. That anticipation, that quiet excitement, it fills your spirit. It gives you motion. It gives meaning to your waiting. I once knew a woman named Joan. She was 91 and lived alone with her parakeet. Every Wednesday, she put on lipstick, made herself a fresh pot of coffee, and listened to a jazz radio program like it was a concert at the opera house. That was her something to look forward to. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m., she'd light up like she was 20 again. Because joy doesn't care how old you are, it just wants a place to land. So find your joy, even if it's tiny. Make it part of your week. Mark it down. Plan for it. Celebrate it. And while we're on the subject of joy, there's one more thing I want you to remember. It's not a thing exactly, but it's something you absolutely must keep with you as you age alone. You can't live without forgiveness. And I don't just mean forgiving others. I mean forgiving yourself. By the time you've reached your 70s, you've likely lived through your share of mistakes. Maybe you've said things you wish you hadn't, or missed chances, or hurt someone, or stayed too long in something that wasn't right. And maybe you carry that like a stone in your chest. But I want to tell you this. You've done the best you could with what you had at the time. And now, as you live these later years, there is no space for shame, only reflection, growth, softness. You deserve peace. You've earned rest, not just for your body, but for your spirit. So let go of the regrets that serve no purpose anymore. Let go of the should-haves and what-ifs. They only steal from today. And if there's someone out there you need to forgive too, even if they're no longer around, you can still let that burden go. Write it down. Say it out loud. Whisper it into the breeze if you have to. Forgiveness isn't a gift to them. It's a gift to you. Because when you forgive, you make room inside yourself for everything else we've talked about. Laughter, connection, joy, purpose. And isn't that what life's really about? Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with something that's easy to forget when you're alone. You are allowed to ask for help. In fact, you must. Too many of us were raised to be tough, to take care of everything ourselves, to never be a burden. But the truth is, we are meant to lean on each other. Not all the time, not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. So if there's a neighbor who's offered to pick something up for you, say yes. If your family asks how you're doing, tell them the truth. If your church or local center has a ride service or a meal group, sign up. Asking for help doesn't make you less capable. It makes you more connected. And connection, that's the real medicine, isn't it? We've talked about so many things in this video, not as a list to memorize, but as pieces of a bigger picture. You don't need the latest devices or a personal assistant to live well after 70. You need things that are simple, real, and deeply human. A rhythm to your day, a reason to smile, a voice that checks in on you, a soft blanket and a warm meal, a reason to move, a reason to hope, and above all, a heart that's still open to living. Because living alone doesn't mean you're at the end of the story. It means you're holding the pen. You get to decide what the next chapter looks like. And whether it's full of small joys or big adventures, quiet mornings or deep conversations, it still belongs to you. So, take a moment after this video ends. Sit quietly in that favorite chair. Look out the window. Breathe in and ask yourself gently, what do I need today to feel alive? Then go do that thing, however small. Before we part ways, I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you can't live without at this age? Share it in the comments below, not just for me, but for others watching. You'd be surprised how much your words might help someone else who's walking a similar path. If this video spoke to you, go ahead and hit that like button. It helps more people find this message. And if you want more videos like this, on real-life topics spoken from the heart, please consider subscribing. This space is for you. Thank you for spending your time here with me. It means more than you know. And wherever you are, however old you are, may you live your life fully, deeply, and with joy. At every age. Until next time, take care of yourself. You're not alone. Not here. Not ever.